Hey guys, it's finally time for me to film an actual booktube video where I actually just talk to you and I'm not running around vlogging. I haven't done this in months. I don't even know what to do anymore. So it's late, it's gonna be so late and I'm so sorry, but we're finally gonna talk about my top 15 books of 2024, and this is gonna be the worst one of these videos I've done because I read 31 books, right? So there's 15 books in this video and 16 not in this video, so it just doesn't feel right making this list because it's really not top books, it's just basically books I read in 2024. So take this list with a grain of salt, but I have to do it because this is the 10th time I've done this video, because clearly I started with top 15 books of 2015 and then I did not continue that number because I'm like, it's not going to work. Imagine if I had to pick 24 books out of the 31, it would not have gone well. But in the new year, I think I'm going to change it up a bit, but won't say what I'm going to do. It can be a surprise. Some of these are just kind of very mid books that I just put on the list because all the other ones were like sequels and books I didn't really like. So it's mainly the top 5 that are actually important, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna go through the list and you're all gonna enjoy it. So number 15 is Five Broken Blades by Mike Cortland. So this was one of my Celestial Club book picks, so I had to read it. And like, I did enjoy this book. It's just not as good as I thought it was gonna be because that was meant to be this really fun heist story, and then it took so long to get the characters where they needed to be, and it just felt very long, and there was a lot of character interactions that we were just meant to kind of like know about, and there wasn't really a lot of build up for a lot of the relationships. Dora was my favorite character. She was amazing, and the reason I have downloaded the second audiobook so that I can actually see what happens to her because I really want to know. And another thing that was just a bit of an irk is it's called Five Broken Blades, but there's 6 main characters, and I'm like, that's dumb. Like, why couldn't you just call it 6 Broken Blades? It still sounds cool. Next is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. So this is another one that was like kind of mid for book club. Like, we've only actually had 2 good books in the book club, but it's fun because we get to talk about the things that we don't like, and we all seem to have similar opinions about the things, which I am enjoying. But this one I'm only putting up higher because it was a hate to love romance, so that is something. But I hope, because this book was just like, there's a lot of things that I didn't really vibe with completely, but I can see the potential there, so I am excited to read the sequel when it comes out. It might not be full priority, but I'll see how I go. But I liked all the mythology in it, and the powers were really interesting, and I did like the main male character, but as I said, there was just things that I feel like could have been a little bit different to make the story just a little bit better, but still a fun time. Then I listened to Begin Again by Emma Lord, and this was just a fun contemporary YA. Like, there's not really much I have to think about it, but she does write a good story, and there was a lot of like little things that got revealed over the course of the book that made me be like, oh, like, you know, that's interesting, that connects, that makes sense. But it was just, you know, a cute romance, and I like this concept that the main character spent so long trying to get into her dream school that her partner is currently at. She gets there, calls him, and finds out that he has quit this amazing school to go back to the community college where she lived. So they've swapped sides, and they're still a long distance relationship, and I just thought that was so interesting. Highly recommend just giving this one a go because it was quite fun but a little bit sad as well, but I definitely deserve to be on the list because I did enjoy myself with this one. Number 12 is Blended by Thorns by Elizabeth Helen. So I actually finally have my edition that's really pretty that I can actually like show to be like, look, this is the book that I read. Like, look at that. That's so pretty. Like, there will be eventually a book haul. There's many book hauls that still have to happen, but at first this book irritated me because the main character is annoying, and I've read book 2 now. She's still annoying, but the why choose of this story and it being a Beauty and the Beast retelling really speaks to me, and all the men are great and they're all just so random and different, and I just enjoy them all. But I do really like I've already forgotten the name because there's like Kellius, I think that's his name, the main one, who was like the beastie character, and then there's the one that wears the helmet. I think it's Ezrin. Those 2 are my favorites. I really enjoy them. The other 2 aren't as great, but they're still good. It's just become like, you know, once you let go of the expectations that it's good, you just vibe with it and it's a fun time. So I hope to get to this 3rd book this year at some point in 2025, but we'll see. Number 11 on my list is Love at First Sight by Cara Stone. So I was introduced to Cara Stone this year by Audible's free books, and I actually love how she writes nights, and they're all little novellas, so they're just really easy to read. This one's basically the concept that they're doing this project in school where they're trying to figure out if love at first sight is possible, but she doesn't believe it and he does, so they start to pick couples for their own agendas, and then they try to like really figure this subject out together, and they kind of don't really like each other, but it's just a cute time. I love them both, and the voices and just the experience. I've talked about the experience of her audiobook so often, but like, please listen to one of them in your lifetime, because you hear so much, it just feels like you're in a movie with your ears. I just love it so much, but I just highly recommend all of her audiobooks. And number 10 is Pumpkin Spice and Poltergeist, and it's by A.K. Mulford and another author, but I didn't write that down, did I? So I'm so sorry. The author's name will be on the square, but I listened to this because obviously A.K. Mulford is going to be at Babe and at Rare and at the Brisbane book signing. I wanted to try and put some effort into reading some more of the books, even though I haven't read any more of the High Mountain Court, but I have pre-ordered 7 books for Babe. I'm excited, but this was fun. Like, it was quick, it was a very small novel, and I've also pre-ordered the really pretty paperback edition of this book because it's so pretty. But it's sapphic, it's witches, it's vibes, and I just really enjoyed it. And I liked the ghost aspect, I liked the magic aspect, I like the way that everyone in this town is just chill with there being all the supernatural going on, and her sister is human who runs a cafe and they all love her sister. There's so much fun. Like, I enjoyed this so much. It's on Audible and Spotify, and I just highly recommend this one because it's just a lot of fun. Number 9 on my list is Angel's Mask by Jessica Mason. So this is the book that I bought after seeing Phantom of the Opera when I got home from Europe, and I'm still reading the series, so I'm still currently reading the second one, and at first I wasn't a fan. I'm just like, this isn't giving the vibes that I want. Like, I know it's a Phantom of the Opera retelling, but it wasn't what I wanted because it's basically a sexy version of the story. But when you start to really delve into it, like the second book's where it really hit a turning point for me, and I'm really enjoying it. And like, I'm reading Onyx Storm at the moment, but I also want to read that book, and I'm like, I can't do all the things, it's too hard. Eric, who is our Phantom, is just chef's kiss. He's so good. Christine's a little bit more annoying, but I just really like the way that we're seeing Eric developing into starting to accept touch and relationships and love, and really, like, you know, because obviously the Phantom's a bit fucking unhinged, but in this he's just a sweet little boy. And yes, he kills people, but it's fine. It is completely fine. Like, there was meant to be like a whole binge of retellings, and I have so many saved on my list now, but I don't read quick enough to make this a thing. But I just have had a lot of fun with this, and apparently there's going to be a 4th book coming out this year, and I'm very keen, so I need to read the 2nd and the 3rd one to be ready for that. Number 8 is The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. So this is an author that I hadn't read from before, and I know that she did a lot of contemporaries, but I'm really enjoying her paranormal contemporaries now. I have her other book, which is the Loch Ness Monster love story retelling. Like, I think it's called Lock and Key or Key and Lock or something, but I am enjoying that. I'm halfway through, had to put it down for Onyx Storm, but it will get finished. But this was just, you know, it was fun, and yes, it's giving Olive and Adam from The Love Hypothesis. Does he love a man who's very quiet and reserved, who doesn't know how to say his feelings? It's a vibe. I haven't read an Alpha, Beta, Omega novel before because it's the Omega verse, isn't it? And there were some things in here that I learned about that I'm like, I could do without, but I did have a fun time. But this was a good contemporary, and I really did like the love story. Number 7 is Crave by Tracy Wolfe. So I've actually read the first 3 in the series, so it's kind of like all 3 in a bundle here, but I just have really enjoyed this. It's giving 2010 paranormal stories. It's just bringing me back to the good old days. They're just so easy to read. Like, so many books are just so hard these days to just push yourself through them and to get through the sluggishness of how well fantasy is written now. So these have been a lot of fun, and I really do want to continue on with the series because I've still got 3 more books to go, but there is a million things to read, so it's very hard to decide what to even set my mind to. But I love Grace and I love Hudson, best character, and like Jackson's okay. Like, we're meant to like him, but it's fine. There's a great unit of friends and love and story. It's just, it's so well done. Like, it's just a lot of fun, and that's what I want in my books, just to have a fun time. Number 6 is House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. It feels literally like forever since I've read this book. Like, I know it was at the start of last year, but like, it's so long. So I would have thought this would have been my top book, but it just didn't hit, man. We've all been sitting here thinking it wasn't as good as it could have been, and I really am still curious about the reason that she rewrote that other version that was probably better, honestly. But I did like where all the characters generally ended up, and there was a lot of good moments, but there was also a lot of moments that I just felt like we didn't get expanded on, and it's crazy because this book is this big that there's still stuff lacking. But there was a lot of like crazy moments as well, that after being a fan of Sarah J Maas for like 10 years, that came together in the end, that was really interesting to read about. And I can't wait for more from Sarah J Maas, but I feel at this point we're only going to get a book from her maybe once every 5 years. Like, she used to give us 2 a year and we were so fed, and now we get nothing, which is just depressing. And I know that she's got to write, but she's also so famous now that she doesn't actually need to write to live. So I don't know if she's fallen out of love with the writing, or it just takes that long now because she's got so much stuff on the go. But, and she's got the kids too, like obviously she's a mother now, so she's got a lot to deal with. But I just, you know, I miss her giving us so much. But I can't really say much about this book because it is obviously a sequel, but it did make the list. Now, I had to add House of Earth and Blood because I still technically read it in 2024, but I don't normally put rereads in, but we're breaking the rule this time because this is still the best book in the trilogy and nothing's going to change my mind. Like, the last 200 pages, I don't think I've ever been that stressed reading a book in my entire freaking life, and I still felt it the second time, and I actually cried. So this is why this is making the list, because I have never once cried reading a book and then I was sobbing. That doesn't happen to me, and I couldn't believe it happened on a reread. But I just love these characters in this world, and I know what I just said about the third book changing it up, but it's like this was perfect. Like, this gave us everything we needed, and it was just so beautifully done. I love it so much. Okay, number 4 on my list is Maybe This Time by Cara Stone. So this is actually the first one I listened by her because it was the first free one that I saved, and I was like, oh, this sounds cool, a wormhole, and I got sucked into this book. And it also makes me very sad that by the end of the listening experience, I realized that Patrick from Schitt's Creek voiced the main guy. Like, what do you mean? Of course this is why I liked this guy, because his voice is just soothing. But it was really cool because basically she's sucked into the future by like 100 years or something, and then she uses her phone and is able to call this guy who works at the school that she worked at 2 weeks before she disappears. So basically he's trying to stop past her from making future her go to the wormhole and all these things, and then he starts to fall in love with the past her and the future her, and it's just interesting. Even though it's only 5 hours, it was just our time. And yes, there is so much noise and things going on. Like, I've talked about this book immensely. I don't even know if anyone's read it because I've talked about it so much, but it's just so good. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Okay, top 3. This is where it's going to get real good. So, number 3 is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I just had a lot of fun with this. I listened to it mainly on the plane flying over to London, and then I finished it up on the first day or 2 of the coach tour, but I have not actually read a cozy fantasy before, and I don't know why I haven't before, because like, low stakes, it's fun, it's cute, there was cute animals, the romance was cute, and she just has like a little shop where she sells the little potions, and she's got all the little books, and they make cinnamon scrolls in the cafe. Like, I love this. I want to live this life. Like, it's so cute. And I like that there's the Kaz as the talking plant, and I just like the romance. As I said, it's all so cute. I just really enjoy it. And there's meant to be a sequel about the person that created Kaz, and I'm very excited. I'm also hoping that's low stakes, cozy story, because I just want it. Okay, number 2 is The Games That Gods Play by Abigail Owen. So this was a Celestial Book Club. The Spell Shop was also a Celestial Book Club pick. So 4 of my Celestial Book Club picks actually made the list, which is exciting. But this was like, I don't really know what I expected. I did vote for this one, and I've heard a lot of good things about this book, but then as I started listening to the audiobook, I got hooked. Like, Hades as a main character, Persephone's not alive in this world. They're doing this competition where they get to pick the new king every 100 years, so they all pick a tribute. So it is basically like the Hunger Games versus Percy Jackson, and they have to compete in all these challenges, and people can die and get hurt, and it was just so interesting, and there was so much lore about the gods that was a little bit different, and I just had so much fun. And the ending, I am so excited for the second book, and I think it comes out later in the year, and I'm like, please give it to me. And you know what too, I did film a book review for this about 4 months ago. It still hasn't been uploaded. I promise it's coming, so when that gets uploaded, you can see all of my spoiler-filled thoughts, because this book was actively everything. And then number 1, and it was hard, right, because that book and this book are basically equal in my brain, but I have to put Fourth Wing first by Rebecca Yarros, and like, I actually met her in 2024, so it feels like it has to be at the top of the list because it's just so important to me. but like everyone talked about this book and it took me so long to actually read it. And me and Kat from Brews and Reviews decided to do a buddy read because we'd seen so many people talking about it and we just both got hooked. But this is just, you know, after Sarah J Maas, I was there like, what's gonna be the next thing? Like, what are we gonna have? Because she took the world by storm, and then this little thing came in, has just completely taken over my life. So yes, I'm still reading Onyx Storm. I'm not done yet. There will be a vlog. There is a reading vlog of this one and a reading vlog of Onyx Storm if you want to support those videos at all. Violet is just such an interesting main character. I really love that she is not as physically strong as most characters that we see, but she's strong in her own ways. Xaden Riorson is a new resend for me, like a shadow daddy. If they have shadow powers, I'm in. Okay, that's all I need to know about a character, but I just love this. The dragons are great, the lore's great, the world's amazing. A war college where you learn to ride dragons didn't seem like it'd be interesting, but it is so interesting. So this had to be the top of my list. So as I said, these are very much tied, like they're both new favorites on my list of all-time favorites because they're just so incredibly good. Okay, let's try and do this. Where I'm going thumbnail way. So look at that, that's all of my books. Obviously there's some audiobooks, but I did try to read this year. It didn't go well. Okay, my battery's about to die, so that has to be it for the video, but I hope you enjoyed. What were some of your top favorite books of the year? Because I'd like to know, because I'm like, what was the book of the year? Like, was it Fourth Wing? Even though it came out in 2023, I'm pretty sure, but still, what were the vibes? Because I don't even know where I'm at with what I think is going to be my top book of next year, because I don't even know what's coming out or what's going on, but I feel urgency now. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!